sounds good, and there's less noise. Accelerate.
Third gear. Third gear.
Accelerating.
Third gear.
Accelerating.
Its naming convention is very strange.
They used to just call it SR. Now they've added an S. I don't quite understand what this naming convention is. Does this S stand for street, sport, or surprise? I don't know, but CFMOTO's own definition for the S is that it means something more luxurious. I'm actually a bit confused. Judging by their tuning, including the horsepower tuning, we think it's more of a street sport bike, not a track competition bike. As everyone knows, track competition probably requires higher horsepower, which might make low revs less user-friendly. If you want to tune it for street sport, you'd usually reduce the horsepower to make the low rev output more linear. So, can this bike live up to its positioning? And what are its advantages and disadvantages compared to their previous bikes or similar domestic competitors? In this review, we'll test its acceleration, fuel consumption, and take it for a run in the mountains. We'll also show you the throttle response at different openings in each gear, showing exactly how much you turn it. Let's get into today's review. Another year testing bikes and selling them on. So please, don't mock me, it's honest work. It's time for the boring detailed specs again. First, let's look at the appearance of the 750SR-S. I think this angle looks particularly good. Our cameraman will pan to this angle. Why? Because the whole thing is very streamlined, isn't it? The whole thing is very streamlined, and the treatment of this fairing is also nice. Including the exhaust pipe at the back, the styling is very sharp. But what did they trade for this sharp styling? I think the windscreen was a big trade-off. If the windscreen were higher, it wouldn't look as sharp, not as streamlined. But in fact, I think this windscreen really needs to be higher to be practical. The low windscreen looks great, but once you're riding, the first-person view is poor. From the rider's view, this low screen means wind hits you right here when riding normally. We'll show you in the demo. Maybe it's my taste, influenced by childhood shows like Kamen Rider with its 6-exit exhaust. I've just always found that kind of multi-exit exhaust really impressive. If you didn't watch those special effects shows as a kid, you might not have that feeling, but I'm from that era. Let's talk a bit more about this exhaust. Even before riding this bike, I saw lots of media criticizing the exhaust, saying things like, "Oh, it's a 4-cylinder. Making it a 4x1x4 is completely unnecessary. Everyone's a mechanical design expert," saying that having 4 pipes just adds weight, and it would be better to have one big one. There are those opinions, but personally, I dismiss them. I think looking cool is the most important thing. Looking cool really is the most important thing. If you're going to criticize this, then criticize the old 4-exhaust Z1000 too. You can't just slate domestic bikes. That Z1000 looked awesome. But 4 pipes on a domestic bike is not okay, and as for whether 4 pipes affect the weight, I have my doubts about that too. For example, I have to bring up my Z900 again. The single pipe is huge. Lighter dual pipe. Without actually testing whether a single large pipe or 4 smaller pipes is heavier, it's hard to make a judgment just from a presentation. Anyway, I personally think these 4 exhaust pipes look cool. So what kind of problem does this higher quad exhaust bring? It gets hot. This is because back in the 2000s, it was a trend in Japan for a while. For example, the CBR 600 had an undertail exhaust, and the FC6 also had this kind of high-mount exhaust. If you just let it run, it's actually okay to rest your leg against it. But what's the problem with an exhaust designed like this? No problem at low speeds, but at high speeds, this area gets extremely hot, especially at high revs. It's mainly an airflow issue. The radiator at the front gets airflow, so the water temperature doesn't get that high, but this area doesn't get airflow at high speeds, and the high revs cause heat to build up. So, this design leads to one thing. If you're riding fast with a passenger, especially on a long journey with a passenger, their legs will get very hot. And another problem is, if you're at high revs and have saddlebags on the back, they might get burned. I'm basing this on my experience with undertail exhausts on Japanese bikes. We haven't tested the CFMOTO, of course. Okay, let's look at the front. I just said the side and rear angles look quite good, but I find this front angle rather average. From the front angle, it feels like the front of the bike has been squashed flat. Right. This is just my personal aesthetic. I'm just showing it to you all. Let's look at the rear view mirrors. The structure of the mirrors is similar to the previous 675. They also have a detent adjustment. And you can fold it up here and fold it down here, like this. The positioning is very clear. It locks into place right here. But this isn't internally adjustable. It's not internally adjustable. So I have doubts about whether it will loosen over time. We haven't ridden the bike for that long. I just have doubts about this structure. If it loosens, there should be a screw to tighten it. I prefer the internally adjustable type now. The indicators are integrated into the rear view mirrors, which I personally don't like very much. Because, as I often say, I think the cost of a crash is higher. Of course, if the parts are sold cheaply, it doesn't matter. The triple clamp looks fantastic. The quality is exceptional. I should use the word exceptional to describe it, even compared to imported ones. If you compare it to the triple clamp of something like an R1, it's definitely much better looking than the R1s. I'm just calling it as I see it. Regarding its luxury features, CFMOTO call it the SR-S, where the S is for luxury. For me, the real luxury is the dashboard. The instrument panel is brilliant. I'll explain its functions from a first-person view later. Why is it so good? Firstly, its display. Also, its black is a true black. Many domestic panels I've seen can't manage this and look whitish due to light bleed. It has a more basic steering damper, with about 23 levels of adjustment, diminishing returns. But once you get past level 10 something up to 20 something, you can't really feel any difference. It's just rock hard. This is basically what entry-level dampers are like. Over here, there's a charging port. We tested its PD port output at around 20 watts, which is pretty much the mainstream standard right now. I'd say the instrument panel is its standout luxury, as it's better than rivals. But apart from that, I genuinely can't find any others. It lacks many features you'd consider luxurious, like heated grips, a heated seat, or electronic suspension, but it does have one feature that's arguably a luxury: keyless ignition. There are a few ways to unlock the keyless ignition. One is the NFC here. With this NFC, you just need to lightly tap this card. The factory gives you two of them. Tap it here, and the power comes on, which is equivalent to starting with a key. But there's still a bug with it. If this thing gets too far from the bike, it doesn't warn you that it's away from the bike. So it's possible that on a long trip, it could fall out of your pocket without you knowing, and you just keep riding. So what if you lose the key? It also binds to your phone. Use the app to register the bike's frame number, and you can then unlock it with your mobile. What if you lose both your phone and the key? There's one last resort, password unlock. When the power is still on, you can long press the power button to bring up the password entry screen. It's a 4-digit code, so there are 9,999 combinations. But there's also a concern. If you park it outside, could someone keep trying your password all night and ride your bike away? That's a possibility. Okay, moving on. The seat looks pretty good, doesn't it? This is also part of the so-called official luxury. It's alright. They've put some effort into it. The paintwork this time is also very good. Take a look. CFMOTO's paintwork is currently Tier 0 in the country Tier 0. Unless you can find another domestic manufacturer that's comparable, I consider it Tier 0. Let's look at the riding posture. If I sit completely upright, the distance to the handlebars is about this far. This isn't very low. The handlebars are actually on the higher side, designed more for street riding. This is the normal riding position. I'm 178 centimeters, and my legs still have some room as the seat height isn't too high. It hits here. We just went for a ride in the mountains, and the tank grip is quite good. And when getting a knee down, it doesn't get stuck. The space here is well designed. I personally think they sacrificed functionality for the streamlined appearance. That's how it turned out. This solid wheel disc is also something I've seen a lot of complaints about online. It's like, how do I put it? If MV Agusta does it, it's fine, but if CFMOTO does it, it's a poor imitation. Right? That's what most people say. If a foreign manufacturer designs it, it's okay, beautiful. If a domestic manufacturer does it, it's not right. My personal feeling is that I don't think this thing adds much value to it. But if you don't like it, you can actually remove it. It's just 3 plastic pieces that can be taken off. I've also heard another opinion online that the solid wheel disc will cause the bike to wobble in crosswinds. That's just nonsense. Pure nonsense. Completely baseless. Because if an area this small would cause you to wobble in a crosswind, then you might as well say that a sports bike is less stable than a naked bike. In a race, bikes should have their fairings off to stop any crosswind wobble. The fairing surface area is much larger. Regarding the wind-catching surfaces, we see the 2 front winglets which CFMOTO officially states have been wind tunnel tested. Winglets from some domestic brands are just for show, designed for style without any wind tunnel testing, but CFMOTO insists their version is properly tested. At 160 km/h, this provides 3 kilograms of downforce. At 230 km/h, it's 6.2 kilograms, but my personal feeling is that even if they did test them in a wind tunnel, I still consider them decorative pieces, because I don't think 3 kilograms or 6.2 kilograms of downforce will make much of a difference. I even think that for CFMOTO or any domestic manufacturer, if your top speed is below 250 km/h, you can just treat these as decorative parts. This air intake duct at the front is also quite controversial. Some say it's unnecessary, completely flashy for no reason. But I personally think if you feel it's unnecessary, you can just take it off. Removing it doesn't affect the appearance at all. But we've also seen many Ducati owners who buy the base model. They don't ride that well or that fast, but to make their bikes look more high-end, they also modify them with this part. I've seen lots of owners, the imported bike kind. So it shows that whether you can use it or not, there's a demand for it among young people. Otherwise, those owners of imported bikes wouldn't spend several thousand on a modification like that when they ride so slowly. So maybe domestic manufacturers have seen the demand from this group. If you're willing to spend several thousand on something you think is useless just for the looks, then I might as well give it to you from the factory. If you don't like it, you can just take it off. So I don't think there's much to complain about here. Brembo. Nissan. How should I put it? It's adequate, but the initial bite still isn't that sharp. The ABS tuning is also different now, unlike the previous 675 or even the 450SR. This time the tuning is more aggressive, unlike the old conservative setup. You know, people always said ABS is for preventing rear wheel lift. This ABS allows the rear wheel to lift. So I'd advise novice riders who aren't skilled at braking that this bike might not be for them. If you like to just grab a handful of brake and hope the ABS stops the rear from lifting, well, grabbing a handful on this bike will make it lift. Alright, that's it for the brief introduction to the appearance.
The triple clamp is, I should say, exceptionally beautiful. It comes with a steering damper at the front, with 23 levels of adjustment. It's a basic steering damper. The same old switchgear, but this set is good to use. The logic is very good. Back, enter, up, down. That's the logic. The front forks are fully adjustable. Fully adjustable is more common now. Here's a charging port. The Nissan reservoir looks quite proper, doesn't it? This instrument panel is exceptionally beautiful. I'll show it to you in a moment. Let's turn it on. The instrument panel is extremely detailed compared to other manufacturers. It feels like it's from a different generation. And I can't quite capture it, but the black is exceptionally black. This section at the bottom is customizable. I think customization is great. Don't just give me a fixed layout. I should be able to adjust what information I want to see. I'll show you the customization. I'm going into the menu. The TC offers 2 intervention levels, a stronger and a weaker one, or you can switch it off entirely. You can also connect your phone for navigation, but that's a given really. This selectable information feature is really quite impressive. I can set the layout myself, and for menu 1, menu 2, and menu 3, I can set what they display. Total mileage, average fuel consumption, voltage. All of this is customizable. Once set, return to the main menu. Here is my custom setup. Instantaneous fuel consumption, tire pressure and temp, and lean angle. This displays once you start riding. It doesn't display when stationary, and for processing power, this lean angle sensor is the strongest I've currently seen on any domestic bike. I'll lean it to show you. See. One is the maximum lean angle for this session, and the other is the current lean angle. It can really display degree by degree. Most domestic bikes can't display degree by degree. Sometimes it jumps by 3 degrees, sometimes by 5. The Zongshen 500RI Road couldn't display degree by degree because its processor was much weaker than this one. Okay, first run in the mountains. The tire temp helps me judge the lean. I can judge how much grip my tires have. Tire temperature is closely related to grip, and with the lean angle, I can judge if the bike is stable enough on this run. If it's stable, I can increase the lean angle on the next run. This also provides excellent reference information for enthusiasts like us who love to lean into corners. The screen-to-body ratio is huge because it integrates the required warning lights. Most cars stick them on an ugly outer bezel. Nice, I give this instrument panel a thumbs up. Okay, let's start it up. The sound is very pure. I just recorded it for you, so I won't record it again. The sound is very pure and the display is also very detailed. Look at this. See, the animation is very detailed. The instrument panel gets a big thumbs up. Okay, let's start riding. I forgot to mention, this supports one touch start. You don't have to long press it. A short press is enough to start it. Let me demonstrate again. This is quite convenient. KTM does this now too. Let's ride this large domestic bike first. Let's check the throttle response. Many novices can't control it and like to know if a big bike is jerky. Let's go straight to first gear. We're idling in first gear now. Right. Off the throttle, then back on the throttle while idling in first. Okay, let's do it again. Idling in first. Off the throttle. On the throttle. Is it jerky? But if you twist it erratically like this, I can't help it. Maybe some media outlets will twist it like this, and then say, oh, the reviewer didn't mention it, but it's jerky. Let's twist the throttle smoothly and see if it's jerky, all the way off. On the throttle. Let's apply the throttle smoothly. On the throttle. Off the throttle. On the throttle. It's not jerky. I've actually shown you, but I'll reiterate. If you twist it erratically, it will be jerky. Of course it will be. Nobody twists the throttle like that, okay? Right. Jerky or smooth. Third gear. Same thing, third gear, low revs, idling, all the way off the throttle, on the throttle, third gear, all the way off the throttle, on the throttle. It's fine, right. If you want to twist it erratically in third gear, I'll demonstrate that again. Twisting it erratically is like this. Right, let's try mid revs in third gear again, 5,000, all the way off, on the throttle. 5,000, all the way off. On the throttle. 5,000, all the way off. On the throttle. It's fine, right? The throttle response is decent, just don't twist it erratically. Right? Straight into the mountains, let's try the quick shifter. It's an up-only quick shifter. Third gear, up to fourth, up to fifth, up to sixth. No problem. I didn't even hear a clunk. Then let's try the quick shifter at low revs. I'll shift down first. It's up only, so I can't just press down. I have to roll off the throttle a bit, then blip and press down. Wait a minute, let me get back to second gear. Okay, still testing the quick shifter at low revs. It's under 3,000 RPM, shifting up at just over 2,000, shifting up at just over 2,000. It doesn't work well at low revs. You can hear a clunking sound and it feels like it's not quite engaging properly. So I'd recommend using the up-only quick shifter on this bike at around 5,000 RPM or higher. It works well then. It's not good at low revs. Okay, let's get riding. This next corner is one where bikes usually wobble going in. Let's see. It's fine. The front end didn't wobble at all just now. Previously, with bikes like the Daytona 660 or my Z900, they would wobble going into that corner. Let's go for a lean angle. Easy. This is brave. There's no sense of fear, I just tested it. Third gear, all the way off the throttle, then back on. If I open it a bit more, there's a clunking sound. It feels like the chain isn't tight enough. I don't know if the chain isn't tight enough. I'll twist it so you can hear. I don't know if the sound will be picked up. Hear that? That's it. I'm deliberately making it happen. That's the clunking sound. Is the chain not adjusted properly? I'll do it again on purpose. Ah, you can hear it, right? But the sound is not very pleasant. Anyway, I'll tell you whatever I find while riding. Here we go. In. Out. Wow, the entire throttle response is tuned to be very linear. Twisting the throttle in this bike doesn't give you any sense of fear. In a moment, I'll try it with a slightly lower power mode to see if it feels intimidating. Second gear in.